Our first stop actually was a little bit west of Marion at Ridgeway, where we caught IO 48 being led by a special unit towards Columbus. CSX's Veterans Unit 1776 was doing the honors. This train had just recently come out of North Baltimore. Not long after IO 48, M363, who was waiting west of the Ridgeway Diamond, heads westbound, coming out of Selkirk, New York, heading for his destination in Avon, Indiana, led by a rare YN2-940CW and an ET-44AH. Me and Tyler Dixon found a Sperry rail car sitting on the east side of Marion on the CSX Indy line. This would be stored here for at least the weekend, or probably a little bit of next week too, with Christmas coming up. We then drove around to the diamond of the Sandusky and Indy line to catch 28N heading south, with two SD70 Aces sandwiching an ES44DC. Is daily intermodal and trailer traffic between Chicago and Charlotte, North Carolina. 28N's old symbol used to be 218, but when NS started a new reassembling program, they reassembled all of their intermodal trains. The letters behind the numbers were the hot trains with the trailers. Nothing else really much happened for most of the morning except for this high rail truck on the Indy line heading westbound. This guy, I believe, would go as far as Ridgeway. We moved over to the C&O side where we caught CSX L457, a road daily local from Walbridge, Ohio to Columbus, heading southbound, timetable eastbound. The train on the left is L333, who had just picked up a cut of cars north of here in MD siding. Not long after, L333 gets started on his way down to Columbus. He has some loaded hazmat cars, about 17 of them. He'll race L457 down to Owens, somewhere south of Marion, where he'll jump onto the single track main first and make L457 follow behind him. After doing a little bit of homework on 4050, he came back as starting out as an L&N SD40-2, then becoming a Seaboard SD40-2 later on, and then a normal CSX SD40-2, before finally being rebuilt into a CSX SD40-3 with a crash-safe cab. Tyler and I heard some NS action coming, so we moved back around towards the depot. We're on the opposite side under the signal bridge this time, as an eastbound intermodal comes flying south. Timetable eastbound. being led by an ET-44 AC. We never did get this guy's symbol. He was either mumbling on the radio or the frequency was acting up. We got most of our NS symbols from friends on Facebook or from the dispatcher whenever they tried to call them in.
Down 333 out.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
CSXD 4050 east on 2 to the main. 0. Down 333 out.
Now here's a bit of an abnormality. A Tier 4 Ace, Union Pacific, leading NS 118 south to Linwood, North Carolina. This is daily Bellevue, Ohio to Linwood manifest. The UPST 70AH was a bonus today, not normally seen over here on the NS. .118, I believe, is some kind of relief traffic. He does do work in Watkins and Columbus, and some down in Portsmouth. He's mostly manifests, covered hoppers, empty coal hoppers, sometimes cryotrans reefer cars, auto racks, and a bunch of other miscellaneous things. On this day, he was a long train. Rarely seen with a DPU, today he had one, an NS AC-44C6M, shoving as hard as he can to get the train downhill. Actually, if you look at it closely, the Sandusky district going south is kind of uphill in some areas. Also, a little bit of note was these Canadian Pacific Railway boxcars, hooked up together, at least about 7 or 8 of them, and some Norfolk and Western and Cotton Rail gondolas towards the end of the train. We move around to Silver Street, where we see a high green on the CNO for bound CSX M635, daily Selkirk, New York to Columbus, Ohio. This train picks up some and drops off at Willard, Ohio, and then picks up and drops off trash loads and empties at a landfill at the south end of Fostoria, Ohio. Once upon a time used to run up the CSX Columbus line sub, known as the Burt line. But that was a long time ago, and he used to run over a different symbol. I don't know what it was. At one point, he was actually almost all trash. Also impressive, besides the Y and 2 liter, were these Sangons. Most of these were either XMYC, you could tell by the logo on the sides of one of them. Some of these SHCX blacks and blues. And there were some that had a logo of a bear on the top left corner of them. Not sure which railway or company those are from. I'll have to do some little digging and let you know in another video. This is a pretty impressive 635. Not even a little bit after clearing the crossovers, the northbound signal at MD shows a high green for a northbound 634. 634 is the counterpart to 635, and today somehow he's carrying the same kind of traffic almost exactly, with a nice AC 44CW in the 5100 series leading. .634 is the northbound empty run of 635, with work stops in Fostoria and Willard, Ohio, and is generally carrying the same kind of rock hoppers. All the blue GATX ones, the black ones, the dark green ones with the bear in the left top corner, and the Wisconsin Central Limited ones. The amount of blue GATX ones caught my attention. It also caught my attention on the Northwest Connector that a light power was coming up. It was GO16 waiting for his turn onto the CNO. Moments after 634 is passed and you can still see his tail end, GO16 gets a restricting signal, which means keep moving but only at restricted speed so you can stop your train with half the range of your vision. GO16 will move up, but he won't pass the restricting signal. He wants a better signal and will wait until it turns to a yellow. This light power is moving up to POET bioprocessing about 2 miles north of Marion. They'll pick up loaded covered hoppers and they'll take them back south towards Columbus. I tried to look this guy up where his destination would be, but didn't find one. Short time later, he gets the medium approach off the connector and through the crossovers.
How did I get to the Indy line?
Moments later, back down at the crossing on the Indy line in front of the yard is a medium clear, red over green, which is signaling to the train coming around the connection, move at medium speed, then proceed at maximum authorized speed once you've cleared the switch. It's currently about 10 miles an hour on the connection. I-131 is coming around with Union Pacific GEVOs and mostly manifest up front. He does have some intermodal on the rear, but he's only 69 cars today. He's usually much longer than that and sometimes has a DPU or multiple engines, but not today. I-131 is daily Detroit, Michigan to Salem, Illinois. Usually manifest, but sometimes can be all intermodal too. Once in Salem, it'll be handed over to the Union Pacific, where they'll have it, take it as a train down to Mexico. Mostly the containers will be going to Mexico. I don't know where the manifest goes. While we were over here, we heard some chatter going on the CNO, so we moved back around to the depot. Here we find another empty grain train coming up from Columbus. I believe this one was supposed to go to Michigan. Here, two big ES-44 DCs are leading the train northbound. A little known fact, this area right there, where I'm shooting the train towards, used to be the old CNO giant freight house. Over on the Indy line, just behind me, the signal is lit up for I-008, Rose Lake, Illinois to North Bergen, New Jersey, hot intermodal. Now listen closely once he gets up to the crossing when you hear the horn stop midway through when he's blowing it. Did you hear how he didn't blow at the crossing? That's because that the leader's horn froze midway through his cycle of blowing. Even the bell did too. And they were not allowed to use the lead locomotive past Marion, so once they got out to the industrial yard Y, they had to swap out the leader with the second locomotive behind him. They couldn't turn the power around for the third one to lead because it had engine troubles and was technically dead in tow, so they couldn't use that one. It's going to be a long day for 008 because he has UPS trailers. He can't really get delayed by anything that much. UPS are really strict about their trailers getting there on time. And probably this crew is going to be hearing it the rest of the day from CSX and UPS. Back at the Marion Union Station, that GO16 we saw going north to go get his grain train at POET is now coming south again with the same two locomotives, but this time a loaded cut of covered hoppers. It's either contained with soybeans or grain, I'm not exactly sure. We decided to follow the Norfolk and Western line back south towards Columbus, and upon doing that, we stumbled upon these N&W position signals. Actually, they're intermediates. The yellow's both ways facing, telling us that there are no trains in the area, so we moved on down to a place called Troyton. At one time at Troyton, there used to be a Pennsylvania block station back in the Pennsylvania days. The line singles up here going north, and doubles up going south into Columbus. We're just in time here to see a red over green, medium diverging on Norfolk Southern, which means move through the switch at medium speed, then proceed at maximum authorized speed. The signal is for 18M, Daily Elkhart, Indiana, to Crewe, Virginia manifest, and for some reason, he's unusually short today. Troyton used to be a spot to give out train orders. Our last train of the day on this outing was 273, Norfolk, Virginia to Sandusky, Ohio. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels. I'll put them down in the description, and I'll see you guys around for the next one.